Boom! Hello. Have a seat. Join me. Welcome to Chillin on a Tuesday. Live poetry reading. Just me and you. Me here in the Seahorse Medicine Cafe at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. And you there wherever you are with your device. Chillin' on a Tuesday. This is my down-tempo poetry reading where I just read a few things out of random poetry books and probably stuff that I've never read before, to tell you the truth. So if pardon my stumbles, but you know, that's just how it is. Anyway, I'm Thundercloud here at the Seahorse Medicine in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. Yeah, and you know, my mum calls me James. This week I got visited by a gentleman and his partner on their way to Glen Innes for the Celtic Festival. His name was Peter Thomas and he was going to the Poets' Breakfast and he gave me his own personal copy of his book, Poems for the Deluge of Time by Peter Rex Thomas. Go and pop the kettle on and get ready and join me so you've got a nice warm cup of tea. Before I go on any further, I'd like to acknowledge that the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame sits on Banby Kamilaroi land and acknowledge the continuing connection to the land of the elders past, present and emerging, and just give this a thumbs up now, just give it a thumbs up, so the more thumbs up the more people get to see it. And if you like this new format, this is different to Wednesday night where we get all the poets up there doing their performances. This is just me and you here, me reading poetry to you, you listening to my voice. Hopefully not too droning on. I don't want to drone on and bore you. So I've got some serious stuff and I've got some funny stuff today. All right. Copyright 2007 from Peter Rex Thomas, Poems for the Deluge of Time. To James, congratulations on the Hall of Fame, Poetry Hall of Fame. Much cheers. Poetry rules, sorry. Cheers, Peter Rex Thomas. And the ones that I've picked out here. The Barraville Ducks. Quack. Well, that's because here in Gyra we've got Mother of Ducks Lagoon. The Barraville Ducks. Now, old man Mulligan was cursing his luck. The cornfields were flooded, the bath for a duck, the crop was in ruins, the fences were down, and the pigs were all swimming towards Bowra town. The river was pounding a bend in the bank, 'twas called Paddy's Bluff, with a whirlpool that sank. And in flood times the current went round and around before it went heading towards Bowra town. So Paddy sat watching his maize going west, and with it his hopes for a winter of rest seems the only thing happy. And those bloody ducks, said Mulligan sadly, still cursing his luck. He decided right there that a duck on a plate would do best repairs for his feelings of late. So he killed and plucked one. Surrounded by hounds, he'd eat better than meat pies in old Bowra town. He was cleaning the carcass with skill and precision when he opened the gizzard. 'Twas his intuition to examine the contents, and what did it seem to be there but goldeny nuggets of gleam? It was gold, not a fortune, but pebbles enough to return with dispatch to the ducks at the bluff, and each one was gilded, each belly a bounce. They'd call him a hero in old Bowra town, but Paddy was cagey. He'd been there before, he knew that a gold rush was problems galore, and the river was bringing the gold to his land, so to tell anybody was showing his hand. But a duck farm, now that's an idea on its own, said Mulligans slowly, thoughts starting to foam. After harvesting ducks to the city, he tears with yarn about panning the gold over years. With the money he purchased near 2,000 ducks, and to carry them back, well, he bought a new truck, he bought netting and fence posts, all payment cash down. He'd tell them all nothing at old Bowra town. And so the years passed, so the river kept coming to the bend in the bank where the whirlpool was running, and Mulligans sat and surveyed his empire. There were thousands of ducks at the bluff in the mire, and the townsfolk talked only of Mulligans' luck. Who'd have thought there'd be money in farming damn ducks? Alright. Something a little bit more serious now. Camilleroy harvest. At the front line of the frontier were the Doyles, seeking land to satisfy their Irish pains. From the ox road to the hunters' richer soils, they sent cattle out a-squatting on the plains. The siblings settled Singleton, Midlawn, named a creek that penetrates the Wallaby. Their children were restless, native born, establishing what's known as Narrabri. Through Gurangula and Scone, their tendrils grasped, seeking water where the source was permanent. And no matter how sincerely hands were clasped, when the deal was struck, the blacks were impotent. But those were different times, I hear you say. Although that's true, we reap the harvest anyway. Alright, so that's Peter Rex Thomas from his book Poems for the Deluge of Time. Coming to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame here in Guyra this week. Next. Something a bit more interesting. They're all interesting. All poetry's interesting. Something a bit different. This is Paul Hetherington, Pamphlet Poets, the National Library of Australia, Mapping Wildwood Road is the title of the pamphlet, and the one that I will be reading to you tonight is Signs. The small rituals and signs grew on us. We were hardly aware of the growing until we were enmeshed in the ways we hardly knew, chasing each other's histories through. Imagined territory in a changing light, tumbling in a landlocked flight, and we searched for shells. Your childhood pleasure, twisting spirals and cones, some a delicate white, Perfect, you said, pushing your toes through the sand. The taste of salt lingered on my lips for days, reminding me of the beginnings, how cautiously we spoke in the early months, afraid of each other and love. The shore curves with the beam I found in you, sensuous and expansive, a brilliant blue in the flecked, restless waves, a deeper blue of thoughts exploring outlines of all the days leading up to this, as if the beach embodied our lives, its sands, our every moment, uncountable. Wildwood Road. Wildwood Road is the curving line I chase through shadows thrown by trees against my feet. Hands thrust in pockets, chasing secret pleasure, pausing at the bridge where once I hid amongst the pungent hair of a friend from school. Shadows merge as I walk into a presence of plump, dark berries, close entangled stems, a place now choked and overgrown with thoughts I planted here and never returned to curb. The road is dirt and I nearly lose the way until I see the signpost I remember. Past Mile End, through Hawthorne, to the stop that Mitcham station conjures from the past. I held this place in tight expectation, but still the hand-scrawled words are a surprise. The house of nurtured wishes, and the sign, white painted 15 years ago, now points towards a false direction. Then I see an old and upright chimney, a green roof, and breathe the painful odour of the blossoms. I imagine I am travelling to myself, a hideaway of refugee desires, a house, a river, so changed that suddenly I wonder where it is and where I am. Okay, Paul Hetherington from Mapping Wildwood Road, Pamphlet Poets, the National Library of Australia. This is Series 1, number 4, published in 1990. Quick, run away and get that cup of tea before I read the next one. Well, what's happening here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame on the 26th of May, we've got Glenn Screwthorpe coming with Lainey Jameson to play here on a Thursday night, 6 o'clock doors open, 6:30 start. Tickets are only $20. And then on the 29th, which is a Sunday, we've got the Soul Express Cabaret coming here as well. So don't miss out. Look them up on our website, www.australianpoetryhalloffame.com.au. That's all one word, australianpoetryhalloffame.com.au. Okay, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to follow and like and subscribe to Australian Poetry Hall of Fame so you can stay tuned for more exciting videos, especially Wednesday night. Like, hey, it's Wednesday Words. Wednesday night here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame is a really good night of poetry. All right, you got that tea? Good. I'm going to read now. Nobody says nothing. We're going to move on to a female poet, $10 Mary. No, this is not Mary. This is Dorothea Mackellar. It's not, I thought, alright, Dorothy Mackellar. I'm going to read you some Dorothy Mackellar. I don't even have Mary Gilmore's book, which I thought I did, but I don't. So let's find a random page. Colour. And this book is called A Poet's Journey by Dorothy Mackellar. Colour. The lovely things that I have watched unthinking, unknowing day by day, that their soft dyes have steeped my soul in colour that will not pass away. Great saffron sunset clouds and lake spur mountains and fenceless miles of plain, and hillsides golden green in that unearthly clear shining after rain, and nights of blue and pearl and long smooth beaches, yellow as sunburnt wheat, edged with a line of foam that creams and hisses enticing weary feet. And emeralds and sunset opals and Asian marble veined, with scarlet flame and cool green jade and moonstones misty and azure stained. And almond trees in blossom and oleanders, or a white purple sea of plain land gorgeous with a lovely poison, the evil darling pea. If I am tired, I call on these to help me to dream, and dawn-lit skies, lemon and pink or faintest, coolest lilac, float on my soothed eyes. There is no night so black but you shine through it. There is no morn so drear. O colour of the world, but I can find you most tender, pure and clear. Thanks be to God who gave this gift of colour, which who shall seek shall find. Thanks be to God who gives me strength to hold it, though it was stricken blind. Dun, dun, there you go. Earth by Dorothea Mackellar. Earth puts forth a mingled crop. Trees and cities, straight-limbed men, shoot and flourish, bloom and drop, she receives them all again. Never greedy, never full, she is patient, for she knows nothing can escape her pull from the mountain to the rose. Rocks beneath the air's soft kiss crumble to fertility. Earth takes back Persepolis and the late-born butterfly. Dust am I that will not rest, pray you wind cease not to blow, ere she takes me to her breast. There is much of earth I'd know. The Magic Forest by Dorothea Mackellar. As I went out a-riding one morning in the spring, when old trees seek to blossom and dumb birds strive to sing, I found a magic forest of blue-green cypress pine, night dark and straight and tender, close set in line on line. So thick they pressed together across the brindle track, the branches brushed my forehead, I needs must bend them back, and therefore duly careful I was no twig to pull, remembering that princess who rode upon a bull. Through copper woods and silver and gold woods long ago, and brake one fruit unwitting, and met with bitter woe. This way and that way I swayed, while pollen of the pine upon my head was shaken, red gold dust soft and fine. Yet ever I discovered with fear, but partly feigned, some tasseled twig fresh broken that in my hand remained, and wondered what strange evil would for that theft befall. Then in a sudden clearing I clean forgot it all. For gracious there and fragile against the sombre green, the wattle trees were standing, each one a fairy green, wrapped in a golden mantle that brighter seemed to shine, than all clear spring sunlight split through the ranks of pine. Each stood remote and wistful in careless royalty, as though the pine's dark branches were but her canopy. My heart beat high and quickly for wonder and content. My horse stepped out more bravely as on again we went. It is no evil magic that hides among the trees of any forest lighted by fragrant flames like these. Dorothy Mackellar. Moving right along, I've got one more book to read, two more books to read from. And Wiradjuri man, Kevin Gilbert, passed away in 1993. This Child's Dreaming. It's a sort of a children's poetry book, so well, I might just read the ones that I've got marked, because I already know them. How's that cup of tea? Alright? Mine's yummy, it's going to be cool now. Still good. It's Barry's Irish tea, that's what I like to drink. Okay, Kevin Gilbert, Hear the Lilt of Laughter. Hear the lilt of laughter of the children while in school. They're tracking platypus down by the swimming pool. The children saw Mum's turtle tracks that led them to her eggs. A little further on they found Blue Tongue, who has short legs. As they studied further, looking at the trees, they saw the scratch marks by Will-eye Possum's sharp and shining claw. They saw where Old Crow had his lunch of some old piece of meat, and running tracks of marsupial mouse that Dingo tried to eat. And then on the horizon they saw a rainbow gleam, and listened to that legend of what rainbow glow and beam. After lunch they learnt to read the message of the birds and what the wind was saying, things you've never heard. They read the native dance, let's start again. They read the dancing of the ants, the flight of native bees, and what the clouds were saying high above the tall gum trees. The children found some vegetables, yam and cabbage tree. They must collect some fruit and meat and then go home to tea. They'd had a very busy day and learnt a lot as well. They had a corroboree dance that night with happy tales to tell. Here we are, Eagle. I saw Big Eagle watching me while he sat on the old gum tree. I thought I'm glad I'm as big as me and not as big as Finch. Child's Dreaming, also by Kevin Gilbert. Within our hands, caress, enfold as dreamings flow, to love and teach and guide the soul and heart in all the sacred things that we hold dear, and wisdom in our heritage impart. Wood Spider. I am Wood Spider. I have 8 eyes, it's true. One to look at magpie, and one for kangaroo, one for Jiri Jiri, Giro and old emu, 2 for mopoke in the night, and 1 to wink at you. I like that one, that's cute. Again, I am a wood spider, I have 8 eyes, it's true. 1 to look at magpie, and 1 for kangaroo. 1 for Jiri, Girrel and old emu. 2 for mopoke in the night, and 1 to wink at you. One more. All right. Keep winking. I've got a twitch. No. Wallabies. Wallabies like me cannot ski or go for a toboggan ride. We get cold feet from the snow and the sleet, so we find a rock cave to hide. See, that's a wallaby in the snow. Again, wallabies, like me, cannot ski or go for a toboggan ride. We get cold feet from the snow and the sleet, so we find a rock cave and we hide. Who ever heard of a skiing wallaby anyway? How McDougall topped the score by Thossie Spencer, but this is not it. Thomas Edward Spencer, who died in Sydney, wrote this, but this is not that, and I'm not going to read that one to you. I'm going to read another one, which I've chosen, called O'Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. Mr. Peter O'Mulligan had often thought that he hadn't been nearly so good as he ought in dispensing good cheer to his neighbours and friends, so he hit on a scheme that would make them amends. He said, "Molly, me darling, we'll go the whole hog. You must lay in a stock of provisions and grog. We'll invite all the neighbours and try to contrive just to give them an elegant wallaby drive." He invited the Murphys, both Johnny and Matt, and old Sandy McDougall from Tumbledown Flat. There was Barney O'Grady and Jones from the mill, and old Paddy the stockman from Cabbage Tree Hill. And they came with their wives and their sweethearts, and some came alone, and a few were unable to come. But it did Molly's heart good to see them arrive to Peter O'Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. There was game in abundance and plenty of sport, and the old gum trees shook with the rattling report of old Paddy's big musket and the furious fast. He blazed with his eyes shut at all that went past. At the end of the day, when they counted the score, Paddy hadn't shot 1, while McDougall had 4. Johnny Murphy was top, for he shot 25, and at Peter O'Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. When the sun had gone down and the shooting was done, there was dancing and feasting and flirting and fun. Johnny Murphy got drunk while his young brother, Matt, courted Kitty McDougall from Tumbledown Flat, while Peter himself, quite unknown to his lady, sat on the veranda with Biddy O'Grady. They danced till poor Jones was more dead than alive at Peter O'Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. O'Grady sought Biddy the moment he missed her and came on the pair as Mulligan kissed her. Then their joy was diluted, O'Grady showed fight, while O'Mulligan's missus made Biddy look white. In a moment the house was like Donnybrook Fair. There were heads in the fireplace and heels in the air, and though Paddy the stockman to part them did strive, he got floored at O'Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. Poor Kitty McDougall lost all her false hair, while O'Grady got scalped with the leg of a chair. Johnny Murphy struck Paddy, who called him a liar, and upsetting the lamp set the whole house on fire. There was fire in the parlour and smoke in the hall and a blaze in the room that was cleared for the ball, and the ladies who'd fainted they'd had to revive or be baked at Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. They rallied round Peter, their friendship returning, and they pulled down his house to prevent it from burning. When the fire was put out, they all shouted good night, then saddling their horses, were soon out of sight. When the last one was gone, Mrs. Mulligan rose, and she said as she wiped a big tear from her nose, "When you want more diversion to keep you alive, I presume faith you'll get up a Wallaby Drive." Then as a phoenix like Peter arose from the ashes, with his whiskers all singed in his eyebrows and lashes, he exclaimed by the ghost of St. Patrick, I swear, if I ever recover me eyebrows and hair, that there's one small piece of hunting I'll do. Faith, I'll hunt for O'Grady and give him his due. As for you, devil take you, I'll skin you alive if ever you ever mention a Wallaby Drive. Hal McDougall topped the score by Thomas E. Spencer, and that was O'Mulligan's Wallaby Drive. And I suppose I might read you something that I've written now, because I've run out of stuff that other people have written, and I'm going to finish off my cup of tea here. And in this week, haven't written a great deal this week, so don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with like heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps. And here's one, is a bit of, with a lot of alliteration. 9 miles up the River Nile is a little muddy isle where there is a crocodile who had a big smile right across his dial. This crocodile was very agile and waited a while and a while more. Then, whoosh, snap, boom, roll, prey taken to a deep underwater hole where little bits of flesh are eaten whole of a young little piebald pony foal. Life was no trial for that big crocodile with a big smile right across its dial as it basked in the sun for a while and sharpened its teeth with a file. Somewhere on an isle, 9 miles up the River Nile. Did I mention his name was Kyle? Kyle Crocodile? Or how about, here we go, a Freaky Friday. So it was Free Write Friday on the 29th of April, and that means like Friday on the Dirty 30 Challenge, which is 30 days of prompts, poetry prompts through April. And day 29, Friday the 29th, was Free Write Friday. So I wrote Freaky Friday. This is called Freak-O-Currency. It was a Freaky Friday, like I can't remember when. An emu hatched from an egg laid by a bantam hen. Ran through my backyard garden and kicked my toilet down, then out of the poo hole climbed a man dressed as a clown. He tried to shake my hand and I said, "How do you do?" He said, "Could I please use your shower? I'm all covered in poo." I answered, "No, you can't, but you can use my garden hose." I hosed him off, revealing red hair, red lips, and a nose. I asked him if his name happened to be Ronald. He replied, "He's my brother. My name's Bill McDonald." "What on earth are you doing deep inside my toilet?" "I'm the poor sibling and couldn't afford a room to let. Anyway, it's healthier living in a toilet filled with shit than going to my brother Ronald's and eating some of it. He was really stinky." And I said, "Ooh, you smell funny." He replied, "I'm a clown who just crawled from your dunny. I never would have met you if the emu hadn't kicked the toilet down. When my troops turned to an emu, I met a stinky clown." This was the beginning of my Freaky Friday. Me, Bill McDonald, and an emu then went to Summer Bay. Yeah, Bill McDonald wanted to swim, and I said, "Just do it." When who should walk down the beach but Alf Stewart? The emu kicked Alf Stewart and nearly broke his neck. Alf gave a loud yell that sounded like, "Bloomin' heck!" The emu got a fright and promptly ran away. Me, the smelly clown, were left on the set of Home and Away. It's true. Yeah. So then a monkey and a donkey, a wombat and a pig danced upon the beach and did a little jig. When a whale beached itself and asked us for a fish, and a seagull flew on down and said, "Salty chips is my wish." I said, "What the heck? It's a talking whale and a seagull." The seagull said, "But hey, your friend just climbed from a poo hole. And now you've got spiders nesting in your beard because, well, this was a Freaky Friday. It was friggin' bloody weird because the wombat had started kissing with the monkey. I won't mention what the pig was doing with the donkey. I got on a penny farthing and promptly rode on home. When I arrived home, I found I was all alone. And it was very smelly. My toilet was still destroyed. It was 10 o'clock at night and I was feeling buoyed. Only 2 hours left of this Freaky Friday, so I went to bed to sleep in hope of a normal Saturday. Early Saturday I awoke and I looked about my bedroom. I saw an emu, donkey, monkey and wombat, but no pig in the gloom. Bill McDonald walked in and brought me breakfast in bed, freshly butchered bacon and a couple of emu eggs. I asked Bill McDonald why he smelled like flowers. He said, "Oh, I just had a hot shower for 16 hours, and then put on fresh clown clothes and new clown makeup after I had rebuilt and fixed your broken toilet up. The emu ran outside and again kicked the dunny down." This was the first time that I saw that clown frown. But Bill McDonald had a plan and said, "I know what to do." That Saturday evening, Bill and I dined on roast emu. And that's about all, and so my story starts to end. But I had so many weird adventures with my new clown friend who climbed out of the toilet. But that was only because my chook egg bantams laid eggs which turned out to be emus. Okay. Alright, now one more from me. There was an old shearer, and his name was Sid. And he had a mullet haircut like a 15-year-old kid. Late one night, after drinking too many beers, Sid took to his own head with his own shears. Yeah. And that's about it from me here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I think I'm going to call it quits there for the night, and I'm not going to read any more poetry to you unless I go to the Dirty 30 and see like what I've written in there. Okay, well, there was one like the plastic bottle. We had to write something good about plastic bottles. Well, you know, the plastic bottle. Dear plastic bottle, for all the environmental damage you cause, it's not your fault. No, it's not your fault. It's those irresponsible humans who don't recycle you. Oh, plastic bottle, thank you. You have stopped billions of people from dehydration. Aquarius, the water carrier. People may judge you, plastic bottle, but they need to look in the mirror. It's their demand that has created the supply of you. It's their irresponsibility that litters you. It's their fault if you don't get recycled. Oh, plastic bottle, you are particularly awesome. You are not a glass bottle and you don't shatter on the road, potentially cutting feet. You are lightweight and durable. Plastic bottle, today I'd like to squeeze you and squeeze tomato sauce from you, mustard from you. Tomorrow morning I'll pour milk from my coffee from you, plastic bottle, and with a trigger nozzle I'll spray Earth Choice Cleaner all about. I'll use you to carry my laundry detergent, my two-stroke oil, my radiator antifreeze, Listerine, toilet cleaner, vessel of carrying liquid, perspective, plastic bottle. That's it. Okay, day 27. We had to write, I can't even remember what the prompt was. It was something like about, like not a metaphor, but like something like, yeah. Anyway, I chose a saying which in Jamaica goes, "Wa sweet nanny got gun bun dem belly." What's sweet for a nanny goat is going to burn its belly. What's sweet for a nanny goat is going to burn their belly. You should never drink water that is putrid and smelly. If a nanny goat eats it, doesn't mean it's good for you. And drinking too much Coca-Cola will burn your belly too. Alright, well, that's it from me here in Seahorse Medicine Cafe at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. If you liked it, subscribe, give it a thumbs up or a heart thing. Write something in the comments, because then YouTube and Facebook send it to more people and we get more followers here on Chillin on a Tuesday with the people's poet Thundercloud. Boom, boom, washing away the garbage, leaving behind rainbows. Yes, that's it. We'll see you later. Bye.